Yeah.
You'll see what I'm talking about. See, they just spread out across the road. Nobody wants to pull. There's no pace line like they're visiting. And we just keep riding. They're doing, he didn't come to ride today. So I just decided to start riding here. I said, okay, they'll catch us. They'll have to work. These dogs, this particular house, other people have their dogs secure. Those guys keep coming loose. I didn't want them to get in front of me. So right here, I guess Rick pulled them. So Rick comes, he goes around, I accelerate just a little. That's Dan on the left. So they're here, and the road kicks up. This is at 9%. I don't get too excited. I keep my gears low right here. That's taxing my aerobic system. Rick is in a big gear. I move to the left, and I just stay, just same gear I'm in, just spinning it up and down like it is. He's struggling up there. So this is Scott. Scott comes, I accelerate a little, I sit on him. That's how my attitude, let's see what he can do. But he's not really firing that much. And you're seeing a little bit. So Mike goes, I move over. His wheels faster. Look at my watts. Almost 650 watts. Get up to him. That's why you have to know what you're doing and know when to go. I'm using a large gear and I'm putting down the power. Go. Let's get us riding. Okay, so Dan goes. Now watch my watts. That's Mike S5. Just sit on Mike because he moves over. I was gonna go, but then he moved left. And then I'll go ahead and just put the hammer 700 and something watts initially. You've got to have that. You got to be able to do these repeats. Like I said, thick and fast. You got to be able to go boom, boom, boom. And Dan's move did not go anywhere. So we're there real quickly, and then I'm soft pedaling again at 200 watts. You see? I don't really want to attack anybody here. I just want to sit in and see what they do. That's all this is about. I wanted to get the group going. So if this was like racing per se, this would be a perfect point to do an attack. But I wouldn't do it here on the downhill. I would wait for the next hill. Now, why would this be a good point? When we passed Rick over there, he was done. We didn't see him again. Thank you, Robert. Welcome, legends and super legends. We got a new member. Her name is Karen Lewis. Welcome. She joined the channel. We appreciate your support. Let's get right into the film. I'm anxiously awaiting that. It was fun this weekend. Hope you all had a great weekend.
All right, legends, we're rolling, man. You hear the birds? Getting up early to beat this heat.
Jeffrey. We're running a little behind. Usually by 6:25 we're clipped in and on the road because we need like 35 minutes to ride up there casually. So today we had to up the effort. And when we got there, we had to chase the group because they had already left. They had just left. They were turning when we hit Research Forest. But we're like 2 minutes off our normal arrival time. We got there at 7:07. Usually about 7:03 or so we're there.
It's nice and cool as we roll out as far as the breeze. But it's actually like 25 Celsius or something like that. 76, 77 degrees Fahrenheit.
The temperature on that head unit is from inside the house. It's adjusting upwards. So it's about 25 C. It's warm, but nice when you're moving. On this ride, Paul and I left Northampton. We really rode hard because we were running behind. We got into the woodlands. The group had already left. So we chased them on Research Forest, caught up to them, rode down 1488, up to Mount Magnolia, got on 149.
Yeah, we rode really hard.
Steady pace. Somebody had a flat on
like
Jackson. We waited a little bit and we went end on 1486 to Mount Moriah Road in Bobville. Lots of action. It was really interesting until we got into Dacus. Then we left the group and rode through the forest and took the wider loop. Once we got out to 149 and took 149 south, back down. It was very pleasant coming south.
We had a very nice day in Houston today.
And then we stopped at Taco Corner, refilled our bottles, headed on 2854 back
Maybe
to
August is
Honier.
tricking us. We'll see.
And we took Leah Drive to Fish Creek and enjoyed the breeze coming in. It was a warm, muggy day, but coming south, when you were moving on the bike, it was very pleasant. But it was definitely a day to wear the lightest possible fabrics you had. Hope you enjoy the clips.
This is a full 3 months of food without needing any refrigeration or special storage. And you're looking at our long-awaited 3-month survival food kit.
See these plastic totes right here?
I don't like those ads. Let's go. Let's get up there. Yeah, we just got into the woodland. We saw the red lights in the distance. The group had already left. And so we're on Research Forest and we're trying to chase them down. One thing about chasing, you don't need to empty the tank. You've got to dose it out. We had already been riding hard before we got to this point, and we were late. They're down the road, so trying to make sure we don't catch that light, and we'll have to work hard. So I'm watching that light because that is a concern, because they've already gone through. It's going to turn yellow. And I told Paul to come on. So we get through. And that effort just got us closer to the group because we probably hit almost 40K at that point. And I just continued the effort. That little surge finished the chase. Cleared out the pipes. So the total, from the time we saw them, we chased maybe about a mile.
Hey guys.
About 1.5 kilometers. That's Doug shot over there.
Hey, how are you, man?
Doug's got his Rafa jersey going.
Yeah.
I told him I said we had to work.
Maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah, we're off about 2 minutes our usual time. We usually get there at 7:03, 7:05. We got there at 7:07, so we had to chase for about 2 minutes.
Is that design? Where? Maybe that's the design. You on the 3, I see a little bit of a group.
Yeah, it clears out.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought his frame had a dent, but that's the design.
They clear out the frame to fill the water bottle.
Gotcha. Okay. That makes sense.
That's the Triple
the
T
light
gravel
caught it,
bike.
It looked like.
Well, man, up front.
I'm gonna skip every
This
ad
is branch
that pops
crossing
up
intersection
for this,
here.
when we do these sessions as well. The other people who watch it later can deal with it. So we take this time to recover. My heart rate's already dropped, and so
1488?
Yeah, that's what Mark said.
I was telling Paul about the route.
Oh, yeah,
Mark
that's
had
right. I
told
thought they were going
the group in
the
a message
opposite way.
what route they were going to do.
Mariah.
I like when he does that, because then at least we knew what direction they would be going
That's why
in.
they're stopping.
Okay.
According to what he put out. They're stopping at Dacus and then coming back on Johnson and coming home.
So we're going to Jackson Road
Probably gonna go straight
towards
to that
Dacus.
Oh, okay.
They're gonna go on Mount Moriah Road. So lots of action on Mount Moriah Road. I instigated some hostilities. And then Doug counterattacked, and then Mike Weingrad wanted to play, so it was interesting. We really did Mount Moriah real proud. That's a nice road. There are no intersections or anything till you get to 1486. So you guys are seeing this film first. I did not release it on YouTube. I loaded it, but it's unlisted and private. So you're seeing it first. So whoever wants to see it has to come to this section. And whenever possible, that's the word. I don't remember that lady's name, but I think her name is MJ. Next week, I may not be able to do it that way. She's got the similar initials like my daughter. The week after. And so I met her at a store one time. We joked about it. Anybody that wants to see it will have to see it through this live. I'm not going to release it publicly anymore. It'll be released through here. So that's one of the privileges of being a member and supporting the channel. We appreciate you. So we're nicely warmed up. By the time we got to the group, we had flushed out the pipes and we were ready to fire. So they can watch, but they won't be able to chat. Only members can chat. This is at 1488 West. We're about to hit the open road in northwest Montgomery County, Texas. So Paul and I stay near the white line because it's the cleanest spot. All the debris tend to go to the right.
Hey Mike, how are you, man? You got your bike all sorted out? Okay.
Yeah, Paul's asking Mike about his bike because a few weeks, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, Mike had to go back home because he had shifting problems. Mike S5. Yeah, I tell him, Paul, the air is cool. The air actually feels good. It feels like it does sometimes in the winter. That's why we leave early. So we hit a bunch of nice areas where there are pockets of cool air. You will hear me mention it to Paul throughout the ride. So it was nice to encounter that. Because I'm already perspiring. The top of my jersey looks darker than the pockets because of perspiration. But you get that evaporative cooling, so you really have to make sure you drink enough. I stay close to this line so I can look around the guy in front of me, even though Mike and I are talking here. But I want to stay on the cleanest piece of pavement possible. A member of our group has a flat on Jackson Road, and so we wait for him to change his flat before we resume. And we edited that section. You guys have seen enough flat changes on this channel. But at first, when he has the flat, the front of the group was not aware of it. So another guy here named Mike, I call him Mike Gravel Bike because he's really into gravel riding. He rides to the front to let people know there's been a flat. You will see that. And so we wait. Once he fixes that, and we get going. He has some challenges with his CO2 sticking to the valve. He needed a plier to give him the leverage. He needed to remove it, which was unusual. It doesn't happen that frequently. But the guy on the ride, Greg Schott, the brother of Doug, who is up there on the right with a Rafa jersey, that beige jersey. His brother has a really neat tool that has a plier, and it has the body of the tool has tools built into it. The most common Allen wrenches, we use. He showed it to me. It looked really, really neat. So like this, where we're riding, we're in a group. I'm in zone 1. That's Mike back there who rides up to let the guys know later that somebody had a flat. The pace is easy, so we're riding 2 abreast. In a few kilometers, when the pace picks up, you will see people naturally just start going into single file. We're talking about the route. So even though I'm chatting with him and you see me tilt my head periodically to just look at him as we talk, I just glance at him. I keep my eye focused on the wheel in front of me the entire time. You can't forget that the people you're following may do something different, and so you always have to be aware of what's going on directly in front of you, as well as just in the general area. So I'm always glancing. And right here, the pace appears to be picking up. You can see Mark in the white jersey over there. He's working, appears to be working a little harder, and I'm pedaling harder. Somebody is going faster at the front. But it's not hard. I mean, 90 watts, 100 watts, that's not hard. It's like zone 1, zone 2. The 5317. So when Paul and I ride on this road, we always stay close to the white line. We've had enough experiences with flats on this road. The shoulder is not that bad, just like there are areas you can see a little bit of gravel to the right when the water washes off from the grass. And later on, in a kilometer or so, the road will kind of have barrels, construction barrels, and just a lot more debris. So we're pointing out things to the people in the back. But in those areas, it become like a pinch point. And so at one point, I think I end up checking my mirror and using the main lane so that Mike could come over more. Because he told me, oh, okay, there's a lot of stuff here, I'm coming your way. And so I checked and just moved over to give him more room. So you're always paying attention to what's on the road, who's in front of you. You know, in the group, you cannot take your eye off of your fellow cyclists. So we train consistently so that in these zones, say endurance zone or whatever, we can chat, we can, you know, and plus when you're fit, the group has to go really hard for you to start getting outside of your base. So right now we're riding in our base, for us anyway. But not everybody is at the same level. The effort is going up. Harder than this to join them, so we're nicely warmed up. The first time you go hard, the system acts weird, and then the second time it feels easier. That's why it's good to have a good warm up. That's why we always ride to beat these guys. And if you do drive, get there early so you can get on your bike and spin for a few minutes. So the effort is gradually edging, plus this road now, it says 1%. So we're on a grade, and you can see me apply more pressure to stay close to the wheels up front. I'm not doing much shifting here. I'm just sitting in the 53.17. It's a slight descent, and now more pressure. So that's the thing with cycling is every time you apply effort, you're gonna hit 200 plus, 200 plus. Then it backs off and so forth, especially in the group with the changes in speed. If you're not accustomed to putting out those watts repeatedly, it's the repeated efforts that wear you out. So you have to train for the kind of riding you're going to be doing. This is where we get more debris on the road, I believe. So there's nobody in front of Mark, so he's working really hard out there in that wind. And then Mike here is far off of Mark's wheel, so he's working harder. I'm close to the wheel in front of me. This is where he said, I'm coming your way. There's a lot of stuff, so I moved into the lane so he could come over. There's a lot of debris on there, on the right. Now I drift back. But that move was predicated on me checking my mirror and making sure there was nothing coming in that lane. You have to check before you enter the main lanes when you're on the shoulder. That's your responsibility. You are required. It just makes sense. Don't guess. So you have to turn around, you turn around and look. You wait till it's safe to get out there. Yeah, Mark saying good morning. He just realized we're here. So he said good morning to Paul. So this is where the pace is really quickening and everybody starts to go single file. Mike S5 has drifted behind Paul and Mark has come into the line. Now we're starting to ride. Some cyclists waved, that's why I waved at him. He's going the opposite direction. The object is to save as much effort as possible while you're in the pace line. There's no point wasting energy unnecessarily. And the benefits of being in the group is we're moving at 40K and I'm soft pedaling in certain spots, but I'm not expending more than maybe 180 watts at any given time. Whereas if I were riding solo and trying to hold this effort, I'd probably be working harder. But this, because of the group, I'm in zone 1 and not putting out a lot of high wattage. And I'm in the 53.16. Just tell by the RPM. So the group makes you work harder, but the group also allows you to save energy if you learn how to draft efficiently. Somebody said, watch that hole on the white line. We're not there yet, but I just kind of motioned to everybody to just be aware to stay away from the white line. There is a hole that's been here since the road was constructed. And I think it may have just been one of those things they never got around to fixing before they left. That's Austin. He pulled off the front, so he was at the front. Once we cross here, the hole is on the left, and it's hard to detect until you get on top of it, because it's not as obvious. It's like a graduated kind of hole right there. Yeah, like they look like little cracks, but if you hit them, they're deeper than cracks. It's a little bit of a bump here, 2%. That's why I stay where I am. I don't have to worry too much about the debris that's on the right, that Mark's pointing out. So now we're riding here. The effort's approaching sweet spot for me. Mark pointed out the space. I told him, "You're good." I left enough room, knowing that he was going to need to come back. That's the way you have to ride. You will see me do that again for another rider in about 15 kilometers. That's Mike S5 back there. That's Mike gravel bike waving. He's waving at the camera. Bunch of poses.
It's our day to make history.
Everyone is going bonkers, look.
Nice.
Outstanding.
That is incredible.
Not too much.
Too much class? No such thing.
So Paul hit debris and he apologized because when he turned the camera back, there were little pieces of wood. Somehow they just get dropped along the street. Those 2x4s, like sometimes. It wasn't what he hit something smaller. But as he turned the camera back, he went over it and he apologized. That's Mark's carbon wheel. Sounds like a jet plane when you're breaking those carbon rims. Yeah, that sound. It's kind of a cool sound, actually. So you can see the watts, 300 plus just to get going. So it takes more energy to get going than it does to maintain. And that applies to your car or any other thing you're using. Cruising is more efficient. So Greg pulls off. I don't think he wants to climb at the pace we're gonna climb up this climb. He's backing off. That's Doug's brother. We're gonna have a couple of riders go off the front, and then Jaworski will ride off with another rider. But we just hold our effort steady. They're right there within range. That's Darren pulling off.
Darren doesn't like hills. Been there, done that. I used to hate
Darren should have just stayed up here, because then you can drift back through the group as the climb begins.
climb is in my 53.19.
That's Mike Weingrad on the right over there with a yellow jersey. I think he's dodging pieces of debris. That's why I stay over here. And this is Mike. I'll call him Mike Gravel Bike because we got so many Mikes in the group. That's how Paul and I try to distinguish them. Mike S5 because he rides an S5 and that's his avatar name on the GroupMe app. So we use that. 300 and some watts, moderate pace.
Using a heavier gear here kept my heart rate low. My legs worked harder. Being heavier relative to 80 RPM.
So the two guys that were at the front, they're just right there. You can see them in the distance. They're about to start turning, but we're pretty much together. Because every time we make an effort on Mount Magnolia, we always regroup when we go down this loop to that light. So I didn't really feel like doing anything today. There's a motorcyclist coming up. That's what you just heard. He's gonna pass on the left over there. So Paulie Longa comes around, rides up. I'm behind him, I think, at this point. They're already backing off the path. After that curve, this road goes up. That's why you see the watts are up. Hills hurt. So you have to use the appropriate gearing and effort for your fitness level. We've got two riders off the back. I think it's Lulu and the lady. So Mark's gonna ask us to wait as we go through the light. But I think they catch up before the light changes. So what Mark is talking about is that he's saying that there are riders off the back, a couple of riders, so we need to wait up when we turn. But you can see them in the distance. They're coming up.
Oh yeah, I'm breathing very hard.
That was Mike
How you doing, buddy?
Hawaiian Guy. He said, I'm not breathing.
Yeah, they're not coming with us.
It was fun.
That's reading the group. Yeah, it was fun. You know, whatever we had to work at it though.
So what transpired at this intersection was that there are three riders back there, Craig, Lulu, and Marie. That's the lady named MJ. And so they're not coming with us. They're not holding our pace. They're going in the same direction, but they're going to have their own group, like a group B. And that's what the gentleman was saying. Now, Mike Weingrab was telling everybody that, oh, Eldred's not breathing. Yeah, I told you, yeah, I'm breathing. Yeah. Mike is funny. So you'll hear me tell Paul, I will update you when we stop as to why he said that. Because on Sunday, we had a nice pace line. Paul wasn't there. I rode with them on last Sunday, and we had a good rotating pace line going. So it was a good effort. We get on 149 here. I thought I would update you when you stop as to why Mike said that. But we don't have time to chat here with this narrow shoulder. But what I'm doing here is I keep maybe a half bike length, just a little bit, so I can see around the rider more. And also I can keep it a little smoother. There's a lot of yo-yoing going on, and at this point I'm not sure what they're doing. See me looking around? They're not really riding, you know. I don't know why we're coasting. You know, it's like we just need to be going. So I hang back about maybe about the size of a wheel, the distance of a wheel, and that way we can just keep it steadier. Tolerate the road. We don't have to react too much to what Jackson Road. That's a beautiful road, and then Mount Moriah, even more beautiful. There's some lovely roads in the So every time you see the watts go up, we have to apply pressure because the road is going up. To do 40K on a 1 or 2% bump, you've got to put the watts out. Now it's kind of flat to slightly downhill, so the watts drop a little bit. A lot of debris. I'm just gonna, there's little pebbles. I keep looking around them because we're not getting very early warnings, and that's fine. But you have to be aware of what's coming, so you're not reacting too often. Since I'm hanging back just slightly, you can see I lower my torso. I'm not far off the wheel, but I'm not right on them either. I'm not 6 inches. I'm more maybe like 24 maybe. So 2 feet behind. Just a little further than I normally draft. So I can keep things smoother. So this entire time I lean one way or the other. So when they slow down, I just kind of soft pedal. Since I'm a little further behind than I normally am, I can soft pedal a little bit, not have to stop pedaling too dramatically. So keep ours steadier than they are going at the front. So this road 149 is okay because it has a shoulder, so we frequent it, but it takes us to just some awesome roads you will see in a few kilometers, starting with Jackson. And we end up going on another narrow farm to market road to get us to Mount Moriah Road in Montgomery, Texas. It's a beautiful road, freshly paved, hardly used, just always empty, you know. Very scenic. Checking my rearview mirror because we're going to try to dodge some pebbles at the next intersection. The pebbles gap. So you pay your dues riding on busy roads like these. Well, somewhat busy, but it's like you use these roads to get you out to some just really interesting areas. We're going around the debris at the intersection there. They're in the distance. I'm riding up to them. That's why the speeds are higher. The road is flat or slightly downhill at this point. I've already closed up the gap. I had good legs on this day. Only do this if the group you're riding with is tolerable for you at the particular effort at that time, because if they were going very hard, I would be glued to the wheel in front of me. I wouldn't be drifting back, because you don't want to work harder than you need to when you're following. We're approaching where there's a couple of cyclists going the opposite way. We're approaching where this road 149 will veer off. Well, not really veer off. It intersects another piece of it that is called 149 that goes to the right, which is east. But then the road, as it continues north, becomes Jackson Road. It was a lot cooler out here because of these trees, man. We got to keep our trees. We noticed the difference big time. Then we're approaching the intersection. There's a downhill before we get to there's a rail crossing on the right that parallels this road. We won't have to deal with it. You see where it says stop sign up ahead. I check my mirror, it's clear, I move over and let everybody know. So the guys in the front who don't have mirrors, when they see me, they just move over because they know. We're gonna go straight. This is where this road becomes Jackson Road past the intersection, and 149 continues to the right. That will take you towards Keenan. There's a lot of hills on that road to the right too. So that's another nice road to use. You'll see the watts go up. This is Jackson Road. I'm in a large gear. I don't really feel like shifting. I'm just pushing it. My legs feel good, so I figure give them a little bit of a workout here. That's Dan Jaworski in front of me with the green shoes and the green bar and green helmet. Nicely put together. And when we start to attack, he's going to be caught by surprise because most of the ride, we've been riding steadily. So he's sitting at the back, probably having a conversation when we go on Mount Moriah Road. But what was cool to see was that he had to ride through the group, then bridge up to us. So that was a good effort. And so when he got there, I was very surprised he was in front of me. You would see him after we launch a couple of attacks. He will come around almost at the end before we get to 1486, which took a lot of effort to do. So you got to be fit to be able to ride from the back of the group, past the main group, drop them, then ride up to the break. Because that's what he did.
Zigzag.
Yeah, we should be going smoothly, and we just like a lot of zigzagging, yo-yoing. So that's what I was telling Paul. I was like, I don't know what's going on. It's a smooth road. We just need to hold a steady line. In a few kilometers, one of our riders here will have a flat.
No stop
I believe the guy in front of Dan, yes, in the white jersey. He's ridden with us before. I never got his name, but I could tell by the shoes he's wearing. I've seen that before. And that's how I knew that I'd ridden with him before. I didn't remember his frame. So it's out of the frame, or the shoes, or the helmet, or the kit, you know. Most often you see another cyclist in a store, you probably wouldn't recognize them. they're not in that gear. Yeah, so it's kind of funny. But I remembered the shoes. He's got like a coral and blue combination colored shoe. He's in front of Dan. And before he had the flat, we heard some kind of noise. So Dan said, it might be mechanical. Yeah, there we go. I think this is what it said, flat. Is it here? No, somebody said car back. Yeah, he's gonna have a flat in a little bit. But when he flats, this part of the group is the people in front of me are not aware. They keep going. Well, I try to stay with them, and then another rider, Mike, rides to the front to let them know. He yells out, somebody had a flat.
Mike gravel bike.
There. We got a flat tire. A rear tire.
Already told us, and we hear this noise.
But those guys didn't hear it. They keep going, so I keep pedaling. I'm not sure what they're gonna do. I know we usually wait, and that's Mike going to let them know.
Not every group does
edited this part here.
Some groups just open ride.
This is our day to make history.
Everyone is going bonkers, look.
Nice.
Some
Outstanding.
groups just keep going.
That is
One of these
incredible.
commercials I
Not too much. Too much class? No such thing.
hoping I'd be.
We basically turn around. We turn around. So we turn around and we go back. There's a little side road. We get on the side road there near the tracks. And so we wait for him. He gets his stuff fixed. He had a little bit of a challenge with the valve and the CO2 thing. But he got it sorted.
All right, thanks.
So at this point, after
All right.
repairing the flat, we're rolling. The group, part of the group had stopped up the road. They didn't go back to him. We went back to him because we used that opportunity for a health break.
That's it. Let's get a steadier line going because there's no reason for us to be yo-yoing. This road is nice and smooth. Let's do something. But the guy appreciated us stopping, you know, so he's not by himself. That's kind of what's nice about this group.
And he basically
So he
said
got
that.
his
He was
flat
like, thanks,
fixed
guys.
and he's back in the groove. And I think, in fact, when I attack on Mount Moriah Road, I think he's the one who's pulling when I go. And he stays within his range, and basically he didn't go with the attack. It wasn't a vicious attack, just a slight surge, you know.
Since Paul started filming me, I've been working on being even smoother.
Now we're rolling, we got things going, it's nice and cool here. The trees really make a difference. The road goes up here, you can see it basically. I mean, it's not vicious or anything, it's gradual, but you feel it. And at these speeds, you gotta select the proper gearing.
I kept my gears bigger. I had great legs.
Your mechanical advantage.
I'm riding 5317. Normally I'd be riding 5319. I just kept it large because I didn't do much shifting. You're in the back, you're in the draft. Just kind of rolling. The pace has picked up a bit.
There's the rider on the right. I think it's Greg and that's Greg. So Greg and Lulo and Kim and what's her name? I think Marie. Yes, MJ. Marie. They had ridden up the road while the guy was fixing the flat. So we catch up to them here.
Greg takes medication that interferes with his ability to go really hard right now. So he's working his way back.
He was the one that was hit by a car over a year ago. I don't think that had anything to do with the issue he's having. It's something, I know, if they're beta blockers or something there are he takes. And they were trying to figure out, his brother told us they were trying to figure out what to put him on that wouldn't interfere with him. I'm not sure what the side effects of some of those medicines are. We hit another patch of cool air. I'm letting Paul know this is nice and cool in here.
I mean, it just felt like the winter. I mean, it was like we got some nice cool patches there. It's great.
Somebody started going harder. I'm applying more force to the pedal. This is a slight downhill, and in a few kilometers we have 2 successive rollers.
I've had the rally pedals for more than 2 months now, and they're bomb-proof. They just work. It's a good product. We finally got it nailed. You know, had issues with vector and other things. They just work. I don't calibrate them every ride either. I went online and found out it's just best to calibrate them when you install them. And after that, you don't need to do it every ride. So it's like you set it and forget it. It worked like a Timex.
So when a group is riding like this, you want to stay in the draft, save your energy, because there's more to come. You don't want to blow all your energy just following in the wheels. I mean, sometimes you can't avoid that depending on the level of the group, but then you stay close and try to be as efficient as possible. Use the smallest possible gear to maintain the speed you need to.
We're going harder here
That
now.
keeps your legs fresh.
Getting up the sweet spot.
So Dan was at the front, he's pulling off. Dan the man.
Hey, Dan.
Went by and said, Dan the man. Dan is a Porsche lover. We have two Dans in the group today. There is no substitute. Dan Jaworski in the green that you saw earlier. And Dan the man. Very pleased with that flyweight jersey. It was like having nothing on. Good design. It worked well. I used this opportunity to take a drink because you never know what's going to come. There's the first one. First climb in the distance then. These guys usually attack these climbs. Beautiful road. I didn't have it. The car back is to let people know who may be pulling off the front that there's a car back. So it's not the time to try to pull out too wide if you must get off the front. You see the watts go up. At least verify before you pull off the front. So one thing good about having one of these meters when you ride with the group, see what kind of wattage you're having problems. The road's starting to go up. And then try to work on that. And it's a nice length. I end up telling Mark to come back in. We apply the pressure. You can see the watts. Avoid the wheel. So we went initially like 4 something, then it dropped to 2 something for me. So that means somebody went hard initially and then backed off. Still climbing. Long climbs at the end of the road. Really nice. In both directions. So I'm staying close, keeping the same gap. So we're really just riding this climb at a hard, steady pace. And I'm just riding the 53.17. We're letting James know. James pulled off. We let him know the car way over. Because he pulled off way to the yellow line. That's not necessary. You just need to pull off with enough room for the riders to come by. You don't need to be way over there. See where he is? That's where he should have just pulled off. You don't need to go way over there. You got to come back over. It takes energy to swing over there and come back. Save that energy to pedal the bike. So the people in the back said car back because they saw still climbing out. They said we don't have climbs in our area. Yeah, this is a long. Get out to Montgomery County, put it in the proper gear. Yeah, you'll work. Nice leveling off a bit. So once you go north in this part of town, you're basically gaining meters the entire day. So we're 90 meters higher than when we started. Now it says 91. We ended up climbing about 500 something meters. We just don't have the high altitude stuff. All right. See the car in the distance? That's where that climb begins. That's the climb that will take us to the FM 1486. So you have to pace yourself. I was very surprised because usually these guys attack these climbs. Today it was like we just rode them. You know, it wasn't easy, but we rode them. There weren't a whole lot of surges. About 3.5% average. So with training, what happens is that your body gets accustomed to putting out certain wattages to where they become easier for you over time. You start cruising at 250 watts like it's nothing. This is the FM 1486 north of Magnolia, Texas, heading towards the Mount Moriah Road area, which is Bobville. A lot of debris. These roads are infrequently traveled. You know, it's higher speed traffic, 50, 55, something like that. That's what's posted anyway. But basically, they're very accustomed to us being out here. Even the state has put up signs that says caution cyclists and all of that. And then parts of this particular one has wide shoulders, so it's not that bad. You get a car every now and then, most of the time. It's not like the city center where you got cars galore. And most drivers that I've found when I'm riding solo on these roads, even if you're on the shoulder like I am, they give you the whole lane anyway. You saw that car go by. They do that. I mean, so for the most part, they move over even when you're on the shoulder. They don't pass you like you're not there. Most of them. These roads are up and down, up and down. That curve, then it'll go down. So you're working the whole time when you come to this area. It's a slight downhill here. So Mike is moving back into the traffic lane to avoid debris. I don't need to because I can see the debris and I just stay close to the white line when I need to avoid it. I don't know why I do that, but it just feels good when I shake my legs. Depending on how they feel, I just shake them up and it's kind of like it wakes them up or loosens them up. It's almost like it loosens them up a little bit. I like to do that from time to time. It's like you're getting them ready for the effort to come. That's Doug right there. Doug. I think he's gonna wave. Doug's shot. That's Doug's shot. Doug's wearing a puck. And I think that's Sam in the back. Ortiz. At this point, I'm not thinking about attacking or anything. So when it happens, it's just spur of the moment. Now, knowing that Mike Weingrab will need to come back, he's only over on the right, guy in the yellow, to catch the wind so he doesn't have to brake. I leave enough room for him to fit in behind Mark's wheel. That's what you do, because you know he's going to come back. He's only sitting there so he can have some visibility and not have to brake. So I leave enough room so when he needs to come back, he can just slide back in there. And you're not losing any energy. That was a downhill. So, you know, once we started to go again, he slipped back in, you get your draft. This way you don't have to be slowing down dramatically. I soft pedal enough to keep a bike length space in there for him, as if he were still there. The road slightly goes up here. And all the time you need to make sure you've selected the appropriate gear that you need based on your abilities and how you feel, how the gears feel. It's gonna curve to the left and then it kicks up. So if you're familiar with the area, right here is not where you want to be working too hard. You gotta really watch your gear. We have very beautiful weather in the summer here. it's just too hot. And so we have to go out early or after 5 p.m. Usually from early in the morning till about noon, you're okay. I mean, especially for our sport. If you're walking or stationary, yeah, you don't want to stay out maybe much after 10 or even running. So basically, this guy, I don't know what position he was in. I don't know if he was pulling or not. I don't know why he's over front and he's sitting on that road. So in a little bit, I'm going to open up a gap and let him slide behind, what's his name, Mike Weingrab. And he points and I just nod my head. So on a Saturday, if you're riding out here, you might get a car passing you maybe every 45 seconds to a minute at the busiest times. And for the most part, more infrequent than that. I check my mirror, it's clear. I'll go ahead and get on the lane because we're going to be turning left after a couple of railroad tracks. We're in this town called Bobville. We're turning left on Mount Moriah Road in northwest Montgomery County, Texas. These roads that we're turning on, it's like nothing's on it. It's great. It's beautiful. So now we've left it's kind of a rural farm to market road. I wouldn't call it a very busy road, but this is even like a quieter road. I wouldn't call this a secondary road. It's even quieter than that. So like a neighborhood these road. Are the roads that we use, those farm to market roads, to get to, because you might get a car from time to time, and most of the traffic are people that live here on farms. This is a rural community, large acreage properties. We're actually very pleased when the road was repaved because there isn't any traffic volume that necessitates that need. And so it was a nice thing to find that they came and repaved this road because it's really sweet now. This part of it goes up, kind of a false flat. Get across 105 in a few kilometers, the hostilities begin. I'm just using it. My gear's kind of big for this situation. Normally I would shift down, but I felt okay in the gear, so I just stayed in it. My legs felt good. I'm like, I'm just gonna ride this gear. They start to go faster. I'm in the same gear. I just pedal a little faster. Just riding the 17. Cutting grass on the right there. Weed whacker. When it rains a lot, that's what I use. Just keep the yard looking decent. I can't put that tractor on that wet lawn and just leave ruts in the lawn. Austin. I think Austin pulled off the front. There's an intersection about 100 yards up there. It's closer than that. This is Highway 105. We're gonna go across. We're staying on Mount Moriah Road. So some of the riders make it across, but for us, there are cars that are too close to the left there. We go ahead and stop.
Clear right.
So Mark lets us know it's clear right because this is clear left now, and then we can go. And you kind of have to check as you go through. You can't depend on the people that have already gotten through. Normally, sometimes they would stop at this store. There's a gas station there on the right, but we didn't stop, which was cool because I didn't want to stop. It's too early in the ride for us. For us, it's like 2 hours almost, and then for them, it's about an hour. So
Mark said he was going to stop. I thought I heard him say stop it. I'm not. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he changed his mind, because he had said the stop wouldn't be till Dacus. So here I take the camera. I tell Paul I want to get his kit. So that's about 10 kilometers of no traffic, no stop sign. And nothing that happened here is planned. We're just riding.
That kid.
I told him I got to get that kit. You got the La Pasión there matching the Rafa purple shorts. La Pasión lightweight summer jersey. I don't know if we'll see Dan Jaworski here, but I think he's back there, just sitting off the back. The pace is easy for him, and so I think that's why he gets caught unawares when we start to accelerate at the front. Plus, the ride had been steady up until this point. What ended up happening was we go down a hill and get all this momentum. And then I just decided to surf. I'm setting to the left just so I can get this shot that you see. So yeah, I'm working a little harder than I would be if I were in the draft. 200 and some watts. But I'm feeling fine at this point. I figure let me just get some good shots. I had taken the camera from Paul to give him a break and to get him on camera. And this road is like this every day of the week. You get a car from time to time. They got a church somewhere on this road and then large acreage properties. People own donkeys, horses, and stuff out here. I like to harass the animals. It's just beautiful. It's cool here too. There's certain pockets of air will go downhill that will hit you. Be nice and cool. So yeah, we definitely need to keep our trees instead of cutting them all down to build parking lots. In about a kilometer, or maybe it's right here. We start to go down. I think this is where we start to descend. And look at the speeds. 55 kilometers an hour. That's like 33 miles an hour, and I decide, you know what, let's just keep it going. So I'm not really attacking, I just surged a little bit, but then the guy in the front here is the gentleman who had the flat. He gets gapped, because I looked behind a little bit thinking he was going to get on my wheel, he didn't. So I just keep going. 400 watts, I'm not going that hard. It's a climb, it's going to level off. So it's a 2% grade. So Mike Weingrab's on my wheel, and I think Mark is on his wheel. I've got the camera in my right hand. I put it in my left hand so I could shift, then I move the camera back to my right hand.
I figured somebody
So now the road is going downhill. I'm waiting for somebody to come around. So the effort is about the same. You know, I'm at the bottom of zone 4, but we're going downhill so the watts are low, but I'm still keeping the force similar. I don't know what's going on behind me. I didn't know the shot was this good. This is a good shot.
Yeah, I wasn't sure it was going to pick up.
You're going to see Doug and another rider, the guy in red that had gotten in front of me earlier on the highway that I opened the gap for. They're going to come by once I start to coast. We're going downhill here, you can see. I moved the camera over because I really want to free up my right hand so I can shift because we've got a lot of climbs coming. That's why I went when I went.
5
Well,
kilometers.
all this delay is I'm recovering. Now Doug and that guy go. So I turn the camera around, and then somebody's on my hip, so I let him go. That Mike Weingrab. So I go ahead and put the camera in my left hand here so I can shift. And you can see the watts. I have to do about 600 watts to close the gap here. So I ride back because I know there are 2 other climbs coming in the distance. I'll go ahead and ride back to them. So a lot of times when you make a move, make sure you can recover enough to go again or go successive times. That's the kind of training we do. So I ride back to them, and then Doug is going to put the force down and drop this gap. But by the time I see it, I'm behind Mike. I said, okay, let's see what Mike will do. Well, Mike starts to go, and this guy gets on Mike. I let him get on there. You don't want to save all you don't want to waste energy unnecessarily. I have been at the front for a while. So I let him get on Mike's wheel, and then I get on his wheel.
Doug is still
Mike
up there.
is trying to close up the Doug.
We're catching.
And then Mike will run out of gas.
Because this guy doesn't want to go around. He doesn't want to go to the front.
So they don't seem to be making much progress, so I'll go ahead and give it a stick. 56 kilometers an hour. That's a 34, 35. I ride up to Doug, and then I sit on his right. He's on his bars, so I don't really want to get in front of him. He's got a nice rhythm going. I just sit on his right there.
That's where the draft
That's
is
another
right now.
climb. It's going to turn right. So at this time, it's on. We're riding here. My heart rate right into zone 4. This is race pace. I don't know what that noise is. I think it was the camera hitting the bar because I'm really pouring it on. And then we turn right. So Mike gravel bike comes in. This guy's there. He left Mike wine grab wheel. I look behind. I didn't see anybody else, so I just sit here and I'm pedaling. And I think Dan Jaworski rides through the group from the back. In a little bit, he will come up, which was a phenomenal effort to go through the group, then bridge up to us.
You got to dose
So
your effort when you
Weingrab
go
goes.
hard.
I want to see if anybody will react. Well, Doug has a tempo going. He's on those bars, so he doesn't want to change what he's doing. I'm kind of boxed in, so I really can't move per se at this point. So I go ahead and I look and I see Weingrab is not making that much of a progress, so I just go ahead and sit. When these guys decide to go, I go. Then Dan Jaworski is on the left. He's made it up to us, so he had to bridge up alone. So I sit on his wheel and see if he can pull me up there. You'll see him look behind a little bit. So he had to come from the back, go through the group, drop the group, bridge up to us. That was a nice effort. So he looks back, and I think I moved to the left. Mike Weingrab is sitting up, so I'm like, we're going. This road goes up to the highway here. So I moved to the left as Mike gravel bike makes the move, and then I ride up to him because he's got the 3 guys gap. I just ride up to him and sit on the wheel. And we've been doing it. This was fun. This was fun. So I just sit there, you know, and he sees me and he moves to the left. I go ahead and sit up at this point. The highway's right there. That was good. So I start to recover right there because we're gonna get up here and that's 1486. I don't really want to stop on this corner. And they're complaining. I'm persona non grata.
Smoking.
He said that Eldred. Dad told me breaking up the peloton. So there's no car coming, so I turn.
Come on, guys, let's ride.
I said, come on, guys, let's go. I don't want to stop. They wanted to regroup. I'm like, we can regroup at the store. We can regroup at Dacus. So I go ahead and turn. I'm recovered here. At this point, I'm ready to ride. And then what's his name? James comes by and that's where we stopped the filming there, you know. But we ended up riding into Dacus without the rest of the group because James dropped a bag in a few kilometers, and they stopped to pick it up. I was like, I don't feel like stopping. So it was good, man. This is part of what we did on Saturday. All right, guys, that was fun. That was a lot of fun. Until next time.